Hello, everybody. What's going on? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Donald Trump has been acquitted. Donald Trump has been acquitted for during his impeachment trial. He was accused of inciting the riot that stormed the Capitol, I guess, about a month ago, and to the surprise of some, but some of you aren't surprised. Donald Trump has been found not guilty by the U.S. Senate. The U.S. Senate needed to get a certain number of votes to convict Trump, and they didn't do it. So let's break some of this down. Hit the thumbs up button, share button, subscribe button, and also we're about to get started on drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people, right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is blissful, we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Donald Trump has been acquitted by the Senate during his impeachment trial. He was being accused of inciting the riot that occurred at the Capitol about a month ago, I guess, and it's kind of surprising a lot of people. And it's interesting to observe what's going on here. Now, I want to make sure that we're clear on this. We are B1 in this space. Black first. So that means I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, as long as you're Black first. I don't care if you're gay or straight, as long as you're Black first. I don't care if you're rich or poor, as long as you're Black first. I don't care if you went to college or didn't go to college, as long as you're Black first. I don't care what your position is on any of you. Agree with that philosophy? Put a hashtag B1 in the chat. That's the hashtag we use, hashtag B1. I want to start the conversation there, because a lot of us get caught up in this Democrat Republican back and forth. And personally, I think it's a waste of time. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I have never seen a Democrat or a Republican on any significant level do anything major for the Black community. As much as some of y'all love the Democrats won't even say the word reparations. Millions of Black people have been asking for reparations. Joe Biden don't want to talk about reparations. Kamala Harris don't want to talk about reparations. James Clyburn won't talk about reparations, but he did talk about changing Lift Every Voice and making that the national hymn. So he says, we won't give you your money, but we'll give you a Negro spiritual. There you go. So the reality is that if you want to know my view on this just from the jump, my position is that many of your so-called Black leaders in the Democratic Party are not serving the people. They are selling the people. They're not here to serve you. They're here to sell you. They're serving the people they work for. They are Burger King employees. That's what they're glorified Burger King employees. They're not there to get you some free food or get you to hook up. You got your little cousin get the job at Burger King, and you think your little cousin gonna help you out if you're hungry. No, your little cousin works for Burger King. They might give you a coupon for 50% off, but they're not gonna give you no free cheeseburgers. So let's just keep it 100. I'm not into any of that. Now, with Donald Trump, let's talk about this impeachment thing. I want to ask you guys, I'm curious about your opinion on this. First of all, give me a yes or no. Do you think that Trump should have been convicted? Do you think that he should have been convicted of inciting the riots that occurred at the Capitol last month? Give me a yes or no in the chat. I'd like to see what your answers are on that. And I'll also talk about what I've seen. There are people who feel that Donald Trump is a guy who's not presidential. He kind of pushed the envelope in a lot of areas, and a lot of people were very upset with him. I don't consider him to be a friend to the Black community. I don't consider Joe Biden to be a friend of the Black community either. I don't. You can't incarcerate more Black men than any president in American history and still, be my friend. I compare Joe Biden to that uncle. He's that, I mentioned it on Twitter. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. And one thing I said on Twitter was I said, Joe Biden is like the uncle who gets invited to the family picnic every year, even though he's molested half the kids in the family. And even though this uncle has molested half the kids in the family, he gets invited to the family picnic because Aunt Millie won't let anybody talk about it. Aunt Millie won't let you talk about how Uncle Joe done touched all your little cousins and everybody, done did all kinds of atrocities in the family because Aunt Millie don't want to hear it. Aunt Millie don't want to believe that Uncle Joe could have done anything like that. So whenever you start talking about, well, Aunt Millie, this is what Uncle Joe did to me, she's like, shut up, I don't want to hear it. And she pulls out her Bible and hits you in the head with her Bible. So I just want to say to black people, don't be Aunt Millie. Don't be Aunt Millie. We all got a lot of us got an Aunt Millie. Give me a yes or no if you got an Aunt Millie in your family who will defend trifling behavior from like her trifling ass son. Got a trifling son, done robbed everybody, done took everybody's money, done touched some of the kids, done got messed up everybody's life, and got 8 babies, mamas, ain't taking care of none of his kids. But Aunt Millie will take care of Lil Rerun like he's a newborn baby. Like literally, Lil Rerun's 45 years old now, wreaking holy hell all throughout the world, and because she's been babying him since he was an infant. That's what I think about when I think about some of y'all making excuses for some of these horrible, corrupt politicians. It's ridiculous. And I heard somebody say the other day, they made a good point. They said, well, Doc, don't just call out Joe Biden for that crime bill. You need to call out some of the black people who supported the crime bill. I said, absolutely. I think that's a wonderful point. I don't know if y'all know this, but when that crime bill got passed, that the Congressional Black Caucus actually had some members that had enough sense to say, we're not going to sign this. Like, this is not cool. We're not going to support this. And the person who actually got them to support it was John Lewis. John Lewis, I know he's not alive anymore. And I know people don't like it when you talk about the dead. I ain't even going to talk bad about him. I'm just stating facts. Go look it up. Look it up. There's an article from 1994 where they praised John Lewis. Again, black folks saving America, black people saving the Democratic Party. We've been doing that for a long time. And they praised him because he was the guy that got the last holdouts in the CBC to sign off on that crime bill. So let's just do some black history up in this mug since it is the month of February. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep going. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. So Donald Trump's been acquitted. I want to ask you all another question. So when you talk about the riots, I really am still curious. I want to ask you this two questions. So first question I want to ask you is, do you think these impeachment trials are a waste of time? Give me a yes or no. Do you think it's a waste of time? I don't. I bet the impeachment process probably costs $200 million, $300 million. I don't know how much they spend, but they spend millions and millions of dollars on this stuff. And I don't know if you guys know, but actually the United States debt level is higher than it's ever been. Right now, U.S. debt is approximately, I think it's 26% of GDP. Is that right? No. Sorry, it's 100% of GDP. It's never been 100% of GDP before. We've never had that. The deficit, I believe, is, I want to say 15% of GDP. The highest you'd ever had before was maybe about half of that or something lower. I can't remember. Like I think higher than it was during World War II when we went to war with the Germans and all that. So so your country's financially screwed. That's what I'm trying to say. And now that you're going to have the stimulus bill come out, that's going to be another few $1 trillion. So they don't have money to burn. They don't have money to burn. They don't have time to waste. So it was fascinating to me that there were people who were so obsessed with settling old scores that they went ahead with this impeachment trial. Because I'm gonna just tell you the truth, even though I'm not into this Democrat Republican stuff, I don't want my country to fail because I live in it. I don't. When Big used to say, "Don't shit where you eat." Well, no, seriously, like I don't. Or he said, "Don't sell no crack where you rest at." We're basically saying, "Don't shit where you eat." That's the same idea. I don't want my country burned down. I don't want my economy to be destroyed. I don't want my nation fighting so much that we can't build anything because that's not going to benefit anybody. So I kind of felt like when Trump was done, I was like, okay, just get him out of here. Like, just move on, move his shit out of the White House. Okay, Donald, you can't live here no more. You got to go back to one of your properties. You can't stay in this house anymore, and move the country forward. I would have liked to have seen that rather than you just going through a trial that you probably knew was symbolic anyway. I don't think the Democrats expected to get an acquittal, or excuse me, a conviction. I think they expected an acquittal. And I guess maybe they did it because they're like, we want to make a point and we want to make sure that it's out there. We want to make sure that the conversation occurs. Well, how about we have a conversation about reparations? Why don't you talk about that? How about that? I mean, you talk about settling those scores. While you're settling those scores with Donald Trump, Why don't you settle some old scores with your damn slave master grandparents who or great grandparents who used to beat our great great grandparents and take all their money? How about you settle that old score so that we can go ahead and move forward as a country in a positive way? Y'all need to cut the damn check. And cut the shit. Like seriously, I mean, all this stuff like, oh, we're gonna impeach Donald Trump. Okay, okay, he's already out of office. He's gone. Send him away and rebuild the damn country. Stop with this nonsense, shenanigans, games you're playing. And also, here's another thing too. Here's another thing. I'm gonna say it like this. I personally, when I saw that thing on Capitol Hill, whatever that was, where a bunch of toothless hillbillies from Tennessee decided to get together and go storm the Capitol, I did not see a a siege of the Capitol. I did not see a violent overthrow of a government. I did not see high treasonous, military style operations where they went in with soldiers and guns and platoons and took down our army. You know what I saw? I do. The thing that got me was when I saw this picture. I saw a picture of a little old lady in the Capitol taking a selfie. Right. So I'm like, okay, if this was a violent siege, if this was like some sort of major government overthrow, like a military operation, why is there an 80-year-old woman in the Capitol taking a selfie? Do 80-year-old women join the military? Do they care? Does she have, a couple of AK-47s on her back and some military fatigues? No. This old lady walked into the building because the damn building was left open. They were able to walk in because you got $1 trillion military down the street at the Pentagon. Like the Pentagon is down the street from the Capitol, two of the most secure buildings on this planet. And you mean to tell me that your military is so weak that you can't stop a bunch of relatively unarmed. Maybe maybe they had baseball bats and flagpoles and whatever, but they didn't show. Again, they didn't show up with grenade launchers and tanks and machine guns. They didn't have Uzis in their backpacks. They didn't have flashbang grenades. I play games like Call of Duty, and I see some of these military weapons. I didn't see none of that. I saw people literally walking into the Capitol because somebody let them in. That's my point. Now, why did they get let in? I don't know. But a lot of us saw the video where the cop, anybody see that video where the cop is waving people in and saying, come on in, come on in, come on in, right? It sounds to me like, who knows, maybe he was a Trump supporter because, again, that's the problem. Half your country voted Republican, half the country, right? So that means probably a big percentage of the military voted Republican. A big percentage of your police officers voted Republican. Most cops I know vote Republican. And I don't think that makes them bad people. I think that's the thing that's really fascinating to me is how you've allowed white supremacists to hijack the definition of what it means to be a racist. They've allowed you to falsely believe that being a Democrat means that you're not racist, and that being a Republican means that you are. Both of those statements are completely untrue. That's like a corporation that says, we sell sneakers, and these are pro-black sneakers. And if you buy our sneakers, that means you love black people. But if you buy Nikes, that means you hate black people. That's literally what they've done to you. They've literally convinced you that if you buy their sneakers, you're pro-black. If you buy the other company sneakers, then you're a Klansman. And I personally think that that's a flawed ideology, because I know black Republicans who are more down for the cause than half of the motherfuckers in this chat. I know some black Republicans who will go out here and build a business and hire a ton of black people and put money in black folks' pockets. I know some black Republicans who will go out and pick up and bust a gun to protect the black community. I know some black Republicans who are taking care of their kids, who are standing up on the issues that matter, who are out here really building the community, cleaning up the streets. And I'm not saying every Republican does this at all. I'm not saying that at all. Don't think I'm sitting here saying, oh, everybody needs to be a Republican. No, I don't care what your political affiliation is. What I'm saying is that they got you all twisted up and stupid, where they got you falling in love in all the wrong places. They got you. They got you sucked in like gorilla glue. They got you spraying gorilla glue in your hair, Democratic Party gorilla glue in your hair, thinking that you're gonna be looking fly at the party when you're really looking stupid, like that poor girl who was dumb enough to spray gorilla glue in her hair because she thought it was a hair care product. That's what they got you doing, and that gorilla glue has sunk into your brain and made you half crazy. So let me just make this clear. With Donald Trump's acquittal, I could care less if Trump got acquitted or convicted. It really did not matter to me. What I saw is a trial that shouldn't have happened. I saw a trial that they knew they couldn't win that trial. So it was a waste of time and a waste of money. I see a president who told y'all that he was going to do some stuff where he ain't started doing none of it yet. Now maybe he'll do it later, right? His whole term is early. We should be fair, but he ain't done none of it. I reached out to find out when that meeting with Ice Cube is supposed to happen. Y'all know you're talking about where they said, well, we'll meet you after the election. That ain't happened yet. I'm not gonna speak for Ice Cube, but I I texted him. I said, hey, did that meeting happen yet? Ain't happened yet. Now maybe it's gonna happen, but I don't know. And it's not just about meeting with him. I'm talking about just really doing something that can really justify this unconditional love that you're asking people to have with one political party over the other. When I look at people like Jim Clyburn, who didn't give you reparations but wants to give you a Negro spiritual. He wants to make lift every voice and sing the national hymn, and which nobody's asked for that. I have not seen a massive coalition of millions of Black people come together and say this is what we want. The Black agenda is that when we go to every Martin Luther King dinner held by some racist white corporation, we want them to sing lift every voice. Like that will really mean a lot to us. That will really put food in our kids' mouths. So Jim Clyburn, that guy, it's interesting. When you look at people like him, the question you must ask is this: are you here to serve Black people or are you here to sell Black people? That's the fundamental question. We brought this up at the beginning. I'm gonna walk out with this simple statement. Are you serving Black people or are you selling Black people? Serving Black people means that you go to the powers that be with the agenda that Black people have asked you to bring to the table. You go to the powers that be and you say, I can get you Black votes, but it's going to have to be a one-way street. I can get you Black votes, but it has to be quid pro quo. I can get you Black votes, but I need you to do this and this and this and this, and then you can get Black votes. Or are you selling the people? Selling the people means that the water's running downstream instead of upstream. It means that you're taking the agenda of your bosses, again, because you're a glorified Burger King employee, that's what you are, and you're taking the agenda of the Democratic bosses, and you're taking that to Black people, and you're basically saying, this is what y'all are going to do. And after you get your booty to the polls, because you must vote, if you do not vote, then we will do everything in our power to use our media to try to shame you and attack you and lie to you and manipulate you and ruin you. If you don't vote, then you don't count, all these other nonsense things that they say. And basically, he's going to get compensated by his bosses for delivering the Black vote. And that's what he got. He was rewarded. They thanked him, and they did nothing for Black people, but I'm sure they did a lot for him. So remember that when you're talking about Black leadership, leaders are people that empower you, whereas you got Negro managers who are there to kind of control and manage you like a pack of sheep to make sure that the sheep are delivered for slaughter. This is how the political game is played. So what does that have to do with the Donald Trump thing? It's a little bit tangential, but I want to make sure you understand that, because at the end of the day, I personally think that the best thing we can do as Black people is to take care of Black people. I don't think we have any allies out here that are going to do it for us. We have to do this for ourselves. So Trump's impeachment, I really don't care. I fully expected it. The whole siege on the Capitol, of course, it was unfortunate. It shouldn't have happened, but it was allowed to happen. If they didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't have happened. Remember, think about this. If your military, which has a budget of hundreds of billions of dollars a year, if your military can't even defend the most secure building on earth, like literally, you're giving a congressional gold medal to the Black man, Gene Goodman. God bless him. I'm happy for him. I'm sure his mama's proud. You're giving a congressional gold medal to a black man who was literally the one guy. He's the mall. He's the one mall cop that's guarding the entire Capitol, and the Pentagon is right down the street. That don't seem fishy to some of y'all? That doesn't seem a little bit weird? That you have literally you gave your whole military the day off? Like what did you do? What was going on? You told them to stand down because you wanted it to happen. You needed a false flag operation so that you would then have the ability to circle back and say, look at what these people did. Look at this. This is crazy. Oh my God, this is high treason. This was a military operation. This was organized. This is an organized rebellion. It wasn't a rebellion. It was a bunch of people who were pissed off because they feel that their guy won the election. So they showed up for a rally. They marched down to the Capitol. They were probably egged on by Donald Trump. You know, Donald Trump's a little bit of an egomaniac, so he likes that, right? Just so you know, I've been following Trump for 30 years. Trump likes the idea that his words can cause people to do things. He used to do this in the 80s. Back in the 1980s, Trump used to he made a lot of money in the stock market by doing pump and dumps, by buying a bunch of shares, making everybody think that the price was going to keep going up. And then they would all buy his shares because he would sell before the price went back down. So Trump has always been that guy that loves it when people respond to his words, right? So Trump might have egged him on, but then when you get down to the Capitol, there's supposed to be military. There's supposed to be thousands of soldiers there saying, okay, party's over. You will not get past this line, right? Why were the soldiers not there in full force? Why were they told to stand down? That is the operative question. And I'm going to tell you, I believe it's because they wanted it all to go down exactly the way it went down. People, it's almost like, I'll give you one example, actually, where it was used in the civil rights movement. With Dr. King and his crew they wanted public sympathy and public support for for the civil rights movement. So what they would do is they would bait the cops into beating their ass on camera. Like they would literally show up unarmed, like don't fight back, don't do anything, let them beat you up so that they become the bad guy, and then you get the moral high ground of the victim. You get to play the victim. Right, so this is a common tactic. They did when Hitler wanted to get power in Germany. That's what he did. He did a false flag operation. When it was time to get the United States involved in World War II, there were people who believed that the British allowed the Germans to attack the United States, to attack some of their ships, so they would get pissed off. Right, there are people that even say Pearl Harbor was one of those things where they kind of let the ball kind of slide out of bounds so that certain things would happen, so that people would get pissed off. This is a common tactic. So I'm not saying this is the case for sure. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I go back to that basic point. Why were those people who really didn't have any weapons, no military formation, nothing there to allow them to really hold a military operation? How did they get into that Capitol when you got the baddest, most expensive military on the planet? If you can answer that question for me, then I'll give you the fresh cookie for today, because I can't answer that question. I don't understand that. So this whole trial was kind of silly. It was all a circus, and also the same thing. The Congress holds a lot of circuses. When they start bringing Apple and Google and Facebook and all them together for antitrust trials and all this other stuff in hearings, that's not going to lead to anything either. They love to put on the show, because it's all about manipulation. So don't be manipulated. Handle your business. Go out here, take care of your family. Fight for the things that matter. Stick to the black agenda. That's what's going to get you ahead. All right. So anyway, I'm out of here. Do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the share button. Hit the subscribe button. And also the blackbosschannel.com. That's the channel that we have for black men. So I hope you'll subscribe. We talk about sports and politics and stocks and everything else, but it's all coming from a black male perspective. So because I think black men need to be heard. And also here's my Twitter if you want to follow me on Twitter. So feel free to follow me on Twitter before they ban me. I'm sure at some point they're going to knock me off, because dissenting opinions aren't really allowed in this country. And that's just the nation that we live in. So anyway, take care. Have a good day. It was great talking to you. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. I'm out of here. Talk to you later. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, Triple 10, 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.